3 years ago, JoCat made a silly animation about fictional characters, and it's something I see crop up on Twitter every few months. This innocuous cartoon would be the bane of existence to many, and the creator is supposed a devil with their own making. Hello, I'm Ryan, and we're gonna be talking about liking women and other things. I Like Girls was posted April 2nd, 2021. It was a clip from a 2020 JoCat livestream where he played Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, hold on, this was the pre-release version, you know, like the alpha, trying to beta test it and make sure it's all good. I mean, the game's not that old yet. It was a parody of a Lizzo song, and this animation he saw on YouTube. His audience liked it, as did his friends. And so the following year, he had made a little thing, and all was well with the world. Until it left its target audience. The animation was posted on YouTube, and it would not stay there. It would make its way onto Twitter, not of his own volition, but rather in reposts. Now, these two websites are different for many reasons. However, on both, you can earn money from engagements. YouTube, you would have to click on a video, but for Twitter, the video's already in your face. The ease of access allows people to participate in conversations way faster. On that same Twitter tangent, for some reason, people favor the separation of the art and artist more so than any other platform. In fact, as the right in this video, if you post "Who drew this?" on your own art, you'll get more engagements, because of course that's how it works. So for JoCat's animation, if you were to only see this, you might assume that is essentially what his content's about, making animation memes, I guess. However, looking towards his actual content, he's a popular player in the D&D space, with his A Crap Guide of being pretty popular. And of last year, he would debut as a VTuber of his Catboy persona. Though he has two sets of ears, which is very weird to me, like does he hear out of both of them? But that's not what the video's about. Whenever the cartoon is posted on Twitter, a lot of the things occur at once. The first and foremost thing would be people making fun of it, either because they perceive the video as silly, or because they have Twitter Blue, getting engagement means money. The second thing would be assumptions of the creator's character. Information often only gathered from this singular video. The third thing would be people defending the creator, either reminding people it is old, or that's not really worth getting worked up about, or deciding to harass him forever about it. 2023 would be the main year in which the video would be reposted, time and time again. Each time, a new audience would see the video and make a louder uproar about it. Some even making a culture war thing about it. What? In December 2023, JoCat would make several tweets regarding the animation. It wasn't just mean tweets that got to him, as his personal life was being affected. As he too long didn't read, he was taking an indefinite hiatus due to the severe harassment he had gotten from the animation, citing that he would be finishing up some projects, then would be taking a break. His audience was understanding with this, and as the right in this video, he is on that break. I'm gonna put a little pause on talking on JoCat, as there's a Twitter comic online that I also wanted to talk about. However, right now, we're gonna take a little break, so stay tuned, and I'll be right back. If you're new to this channel, you better subscribe right now, but you probably haven't seen my video about Alex Hood. And then I interviewed this artist behind this faux children's book, and a bunch of other things he's done. You Are Not Special is a Gen X style book making fun of children's reading material written by Stevie PXYZ. It's in the same vein as Go the Fuck to Sleep. Of course, you wouldn't actually read this to a child, as it's just a funny book, but as was posted on Twitter, everyone assumed it was a real book. Considering the strive for quick replies and actual conversation, the full book wouldn't actually be seen. To put this in perspective, the first post would be seen about 53 million times, while the last page would be about 1.5-ish million times, so the average reader most likely never finished the book. The comic would be taken at face value, with many replies assuming this is not satire at all, or simply just saying, wrong, that'll show him. The comic will get many quote tweets of parodies of this parody, using it as a way to create new works. I bring this comic up as it's in stark contrast to JoCat and his situation. JoCat is a favored creator who made a work that would get dogpiled. Stevie is not so much a favored creator who would make a work that would also get dogpiled. While the main difference is that it would seem justified for the latter, both audiences have similar issues with addressing the subject of the respective art. If JoCat's animation was universally hated, would the same dogpile be justified? That they should never have made it and must atone for their sins of bad art. Initial posts talking about it will always go down one way, but it can be perceived very differently. For JoCat's response, it received 29 million views. However, subsequent replies would only receive about 1.47th the views at about 429,000. This is of course understandable, as often when one looks into a situation, the time between responses can get the latter ones buried. This same thing happened to Stevie and Alex. That over time, while they're trying to address either the actual purpose of the comic or just playing up the sadistic nature of the satire, each subsequent comment will get less and less views. Majority of the people responding, there really isn't an end goal. Just make a snappier mark and move on. However, everyone coming out of this will view the creator in a certain way, even if the initial piece wasn't really commenting on anything. If you're a fan of my videos, you know that a lot of what I talk about are indie creations online and behind the scenes of the creation of them, as I find it a bit more interesting to see how and why a piece was created than the piece itself. So with this animation, I really wanted to talk about it for a while, but couldn't quite articulate what I really wanted to say with the piece. As mentioned before, the animation isn't inherently political or controversial, it's just the silly song. And so what I thought about was less of the actual reaction and events leading up to it. I mean, I skipped a lot of stuff that happened. But I think focusing on the fact that this will happen to you, what JoCat and Stevie had gone through. A piece of your work we plucked at a time and be attached to your name forever. You'll get hit with the,
"Aren't you the person who did that one thing? Why do people still like you?"
Which, like JoCat, your work will never just be talked about once. And explaining yourself every time can be a bit tiring. Most will never see the follow-up, and the snapshot of the creator is just as crisp as the first time it was taken. And depending on your social standing, the response of your post will be varied. For Stevie and Alex, when they tried to explain it was a bad joke, they had just been seen as liars, backpedaling to save themselves. The apology is perceived as fake, because, well, of course it is. The person who made the art is terrible, I don't want to be a fool to change my mind. So perhaps they're going to continue to act in bad faith. For JoCat, this would be the opposite. A majority will accept and even take their hate towards those affected them, something in which he clarified not to do. When it comes to replies, the worse the person is, one is self-justified to be as bad as them. Of course, without the social remorse. When I asked my audience what they thought about this animation, and I sure did get a lot of responses.
"It's a very harmless video about liking all types of girls. It's not even cringe too, it's just innocent and fun. I don't know why people made a huge deal out of it. It's a shame."
I love it for the fact that he's an honest man who doesn't hold his preferences. Not only that, it's catchy and very cute. I just don't understand why the internet hate him because of it. I hope he'll come back at a better internet era. I remember someone describing the video as a dude being gay for girls, and it fits.
I cannot truly give advice on what to do in situations like this. As shown before, responding can lead you down a worse path. But talking with you, the artist, that something like this can and will happen is very necessary to discuss. Deleting the post would more or less do nothing, as it could be talked about even more, and lead to more misunderstandings, especially if you regret what you had made. You can see the Streisand effect for something like that. For every case, it will be different on how you want to talk about it going forward. And depending on that, it can affect future postings of your works, as often people try to get a reaction out of the creator, or get them to speak on something that was already talked about long ago. Remember back when I said that the first posts get a lot of views and then the other posts won't get as much views? That's where they're coming from. Of course, to show a clearer picture, there would be some people who understood Alex and Stevie, now knowing that perhaps the joke wasn't perfect, yet understood what they're trying to go for. And most people would just forgive and forget this post and just move on. On the opposite end, there are people who further make fun of JoCat and what he had gone through, believing that it really wasn't anything to get worked up about. I'd seen a quote for you by Mega Dry Brad that encapsulates a lot of this culture. That people are obsessive on a witch hunt, that nobody wants growth or for people to actually improve. He would continue in another reply about how it's an unhealthy state of mind. Dr. Samud Ahmad wrote about this in his article called Social Media and Herd Mentality. He had talked about how likes contributed to dopamine, and how one continues in that engagement to continue that affirmation. Quote, "To guarantee such a response and activation of the reward network, the safest bet is to post content that's already viral, or content that conforms to the mores of a given in-group. So if everyone already hates the person, why care about their well-being, as it's way more beneficial to you to just make fun of them." Sympathy for a targeted individual can also change on the dime. Back in early 2023, a video game called Hogwarts Legacy would be released. There was discussion if one should play it if the creator is transphobic. That if you play this game, you're giving money to and supporting transphobia. I'd seen this post saying that they felt bad for JoCat until they heard that he was part of the anti-Hogwarts Legacy mob. Though a lot of people in the comments would clarify that's not what happened, and he never condoned harassment. So all of the hate, doxing attempts, and mysterious packages being sent to him were easily brushed off, because they had a stance on whether or not he participated in wizard hate. Sorry buddy, I guess he deserved all this. 4 months after Stevie's post, he released some never-before-seen DMs. Some would hope that either his kids disown him for the comic that he made, or that he should just outright kill himself. Which are very normal responses that you just say to people. There are many things when it comes to creating art online that are often not talked about. Sometimes it's the financial aspect of creating an anime pilot. Sometimes it's how to continue writing for a comic series. And sometimes it's the meta idea of actually posting. In this video, I presented 2 works of art. For the first, it was from someone that a majority of the people would say that they like. In the latter, people would say that they hated. In both cases, we've seen the effects of a Twitter dogpile, and the often lack of empathy towards the creator of the art. That not only should you speak for the justification of your work, but that said response would also be scrutinized and vetted, especially misconstrued as people were saying that JoCat quit the internet forever. He actually said it's an indefinite hiatus, a hiatus without a specific end, meaning one day he will come back. No matter the effect, it creates a snapshot of the creator to the wider audience of the internet. This can often give grounds for the actions of an individual, either the justification that the person is bad behind the work, or that the bad person attacking the work must be dealt with, that harassing them endlessly about it is the way to go, causing an already awful place like Twitter to become even worse. I don't tweet as much as I used to, in the sense I'm either making videos, drawing, or playing Peter Griffin Fortnite, but this is something that I see on Twitter nearly every day, and something that most probably shouldn't be a part of. The effect of one more reply leads to a heavier burden for those involved in the other end, and yeah, I know that feeling. This isn't to say that you, the viewer, cannot engage with such material, but it's the fact that engaging can be the last knife that ends the creative life of an individual. That even something as simple as making a joke animation or a faux children's book can lead to people harassing you forever, some believing this is justified all because you put pencil on the paper.